All right, let's bring in some experts and chew on this whole thing. Joining us now is Mike Sommers, American Petroleum Institute President and CEO, and Dan Clifton, Strategic Partner and Director of Research. Gentlemen, welcome back. Mike Sommers, good to see you. What'd you make of President Biden's speech today, whatever it was? Speech. I'll call it a speech.
Well, Larry, as you pointed out, the truth of the matter is that U.S. oil and gas companies aren't importing very much Russian oil now. In fact, EIA just said, based on their preliminary estimates, the U.S. didn't import any Russian crude last week. So the industry has really risen to the occasion here and said, we don't want this Russian crude, but at the same time, what we do want is American crude on the market as quickly as possible. And a lot of the regulatory regime that this administration has put in place has limited the amount of oil and natural gas that we can put on the market quickly. So this is a huge concern for American consumers and, of course, the great American oil and gas industry.
Yeah, but you know, Mike Sommers, just as you say, there's been a lot of self-sanctioning going on by the private sector and the private sector companies and the private sector lenders. And if Biden, were a class act, he would have commended them for it. They basically did his job for him. He's basically leading from behind. I mean, I don't really care. But as you say, they basically stopped this, and he won't, he's too interested in price gouging and profit gouging and all that left-wing nonsense gibberish.
Well, let me give you a perfect example of that. Last week, ExxonMobil, one of API's great member companies, rose to the occasion and canceled a project, a long-term project that they had in Sakhalin Island. That was a $4 billion project that they withdrew from. API member companies have been doing that all over Russia over the course of the last week, and they should be commended for that, not being bashed by the administration for price gouging that we both know has nothing to do with how oil markets work.
That's the thing.
This industry is more of a price taker than a price maker. We know how the free market system works here, and we want to make sure that oil and gas companies are appropriately rewarded, of course, as they make these big, tough business decisions that they're making now when it comes to Russia.
By the way, high gasoline prices are bad for gas stations because people won't have enough money to spend. Gas stations are like supermarkets nowadays. Dan Clifton, what's your reaction to this, and where are we going to go, in your judgment?
Well, Larry, ever since we became energy independent, I think our policymakers have just become too complacent about the idea of energy security being national security. This is a huge issue. It's something that we forgot about because we had the luxury to forget about it. And I have to be honest with you, to President Obama's credit, he just got out of the way after the Republicans took Congress in after the 2010 election and allowed that shale revolution to happen. And that's what built up this energy independence. And this president is saying that he wants to be more aggressive in restricting that oil and gas development. There's an ideological reason for that. They want to raise the cost of fossil fuels to make alternatives more competitive. Now, I would argue here, Larry, is that that's okay in a pre-Ukraine, well, it's not really okay, but it's a little bit more manageable in a pre-Russia-Ukraine world. But if we're going to be taking barrels of oil off the market, we have to figure out how we're going to replace those. We're going to be able to get some of those from American producers. Why haven't they reached out to Canada, a friendly neighbor, to be able to say, let's build this North America energy independence? Instead, we're talking to Iran to replace those 1.5 million barrels that you talked about, or we're talking to Venezuela. This is just ludicrous from my perspective. The good news, however, is that American voters are not ideological. They're very worried about their cost of living. And I do think that in the next couple of weeks, as we begin to see prices going up, they're going to start demanding changes. You see that in the polling data now. And as I've told you before, Larry, I believe this is just like schools in 2020. If our kids aren't getting educated, we're going to demand change. That's what happened in the Virginia election. And today it's going to be if oil prices are high because we're restricting development, voters are going to demand that those costs come down. So I'm actually quite optimistic that others are going to lead when the president is not going to lead in this area, but it's going to take some time to get there, and there's going to be some pain because of that.
I like that, by the way. The cavalry's coming, and I think you're right. And on the radio this weekend, you called it, it's going to be an energy election, and I think that's a great call, Dan. I mentioned it this morning on Stu Varney's show. You should stay with it. Mike Sommers, let me just go back to this other blue smoke and mirrors distraction. The 9,000 leases or whatever it is. I mean, the 9,000 leases are all good, but you have the Energy Department, the Interior Department, FERC, EPA, the SEC, the Federal Reserve, and just about every other regulator in America against any drilling, producing, pipelining, or anything. So what good is a lease?
Well, that's exactly right, Larry. In fact, that, as you said in your opening monologue, it is completely a red herring. We have more active leases today than we have at any point in the last 20 years. American oil and gas companies want to develop those leases, but we're being restricted based on the new regulatory regime that has been imposed by this administration. When you begin your administration by cutting off access to the Keystone XL pipeline, second day they imposed new restrictions on leasing and permitting on federal lands and in federal waters. And then the third day, they cut off access to the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge, which was actually written into statute. And then they've continued that assault almost every day from the beginning of this administration. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, they renewed that moratorium on leases and permitting on federal lands and federal waters. They even refused to stand up against a federal judge that cut off a lease sale in the Gulf of Mexico. And we're still waiting on a 5-year plan in the Gulf of Mexico, which, by the way, those barrels from the Gulf of Mexico are some of the least carbon-intensive barrels in the world. That oil is going to come from somewhere, and I think we need it to come from the United States, not from these regimes that are hostile to American interests. Now, I asked an audience just the other day, would you choose Europe's energy policy over the United States' energy policy? And not one person raised their hand. And I think most Americans would agree now is not the time for us to be begging other countries for American energy. We need to be asking American producers to do more, and we're ready to do it.
They're ready to do it, as far as I can tell. Dan Clifton, I'm going to give you the last word because I mean, it's not going to happen. Biden had another opportunity to be generous to the fossil industry, and he rejected it. He attacked them instead. But you know, Dan, any president, you mentioned Obama, his bark was bigger than his bite on this subject. You're exactly right. He kind of stepped away. We used to talk about, Dan, an all-of-the-above policy that would guarantee abundant supplies at affordable prices. I mean, it's like, you want electric vehicles, fine, but Elon Musk acknowledges you need oil and gas too. Why can't they be open-handed, open-armed about this and say, look, we need to work together for the next 50 years? I mean, I'm sure, Dan, you're a good forecaster, and you will forecast 3 centuries from now about real GDP and interest rates, okay? I'm sure you could do that because that's what this social cost of carbon crap is. But really, more to the point, what presidents are supposed to do is bring everybody around the table. We got a problem. We got a problem in price, gasoline. We got a problem with these dictators around the world pulling Putin. How do we imply American ingenuity to get it done? Last word, Dan Clifton.
This is the moment. Europe needs our energy. U.S. needs lower prices. This is the moment. We can unleash that offshore drilling. We can create the permitting process to be able to distribute our oil and natural gas to get to where it needs to go. We can even have LNG distributed on trains and create the North America energy superpower that is counter to the bad regimes that we're talking about today, to the OPEC cartel, to Russia, to China. Everybody has to do business with North America. That is in front of us. And the good news, Larry, is that the president really, really wants his renewable energy provisions, solar, wind, energy storage, hydrogen. But there's going to be a cost to doing that, I think, in the United States Senate, that if the president wants those renewable energy provisions, he's probably going to have to give on some of these ideas that I just laid out as a condition of them, or he's going to be very sorry. So that's why I think the cavalry's coming. And if not, the election will be run on energy policy in 2020.
You know, he's got all these crazy regulators. This is a regulatory jihad. You know, Steve Forbes called it modern socialism. This is through central planning, regulatory central planning. These people are crazy. They're crazy. Look what they've done. This 3 centuries ahead on the social cost of carbon, right? And for that, they're raising the price of carbon so you can't do any. I don't know. I mean, this. I'll tell you what, the cavalry's coming in 2022, but we got to get the cavalry in 2024. Mike Sommers, thank you, buddy. Dan Clifton, thanks ever so much.